Well, even though the blow was the only injury, we thought it'd be wise to check on the condition of the fetus, and I just want to
Wait a second, wait a minute.
Yes?
Check on the condition of what?
Well, the baby, Mr. Scott.
Oh, you guys are really blowing it this time. Hell, we're not even talking about the same patient.
April Scott, female, Caucasian, blonde hair, very pretty.
Yeah, pretty, very pretty, but not pregnant.
Well, she certainly is. According to Dr. Slocum, she's just about entering her 3rd month.
Dr. Katz to emergency. Dr. Katz to emergency.
Miles.
You're going to be stiff and sore if you slept like that all night long.
Oh, is it morning already?
Yes, it is. I'm just about to start my rounds. I'm surprised they didn't kick you out of here. You must look too pitiful. Come on, Papa. Let's go have ourselves some coffee.
Wait a minute, Papa.
Dr. Williams, please call.
It's true then, huh? April's pregnant.
Yeah? It's true.
You know, I kept asking the nurses and the doctors if April were awake at night. They said no. So she hasn't even heard the news yet. April's pregnant. She doesn't even know it. Miles, it's a miracle. Imagine how April's going to feel when she hears about this.
Yeah, I know. She's going to feel even better about that business of Jamie and Raven and Logan.
Yeah. Hey, I know it's early, but you think I can get in to see her now?
No. Visiting hours don't start for another half hour.
Miles.
Look, all right, let me buy you the coffee, all right? And a little bit of breakfast. You starving?
Yeah, I think I could use some.
Let's go. After you've fortified yourself, you can come back and tell April the good news. She's going to have a bad headache when she wakes up, and this ought to make her feel better.
Yeah, you know, there's something April has to tell us. Just what the hell happened at Margot's. Yeah, thanks. Can't wait to tell Mama when she gets home, can you?
Why are you looking at me like that?
The last time, April, you really thought I was gonna throw you off the terrace, didn't you? You really thought I was capable of doing such a thing. But then you've been sick. You've been sick since you've broken up with your husband. We all know that. We all know that if you suddenly leapt off the terrace in a moment of despair, we wouldn't be surprised, would we? Come, let's take a look at the view, April.
Poor Margot.
Well, I really appreciate your bringing this stuff by from the studio. There was absolutely no way I could go to the office today, not with everything that's happening.
Oh, well, I know. I don't mind coming over here to work, but let's hurry up. I know you're anxious to get back to the hospital and see April.
I am, and as a matter of fact, why don't we both go over there together as soon as we get this tape schedule straightened out, all right?
Miles is there already. He had some calls to make on some other patients.
She will be all right, won't she? I mean, the doctor told me last night I shouldn't worry.
Yeah, she'll be fine. When she hears this news about the baby, she's going to be even better. It's incredible, isn't it?
Almost a miracle. In fact, I thought at first it was a mistake that they'd mixed up the records or something.
Oh, no. Miles talked to the obstetrician. He made the examination, and there's no question about it. I mean, she must have had some signs of pregnancy before, but I guess she's just so convinced that she couldn't have a baby that she just assumed they were for other causes.
I know she wasn't feeling well, but... Well, I just hope it makes a difference in the marriage, I mean.
Oh, I'm sure it will. When doesn't a baby make a difference?
Well, it can happen. I mean, sometimes differences are so great they're irreconcilable.
Well, I'm sure it'll make a difference now. It really worries you that much?
To tell you the truth, I am as worried about my husband as I am my daughter.
Why? What's the matter with Elliot?
Oh, Nicole, he didn't come home last night.
Marco.
No, it's not that. I mean, I know where he is. I called the Unicorn this morning and was told that he was still sleeping soundly in his office where he'd spent the night. But what really worried...
Mrs. Dorn,
Oscar, at last.
sorry I'm late, but my arthritis was just killing me this morning.
Well, it's last night that I'm really concerned about. I suppose you heard my daughter had a terrible accident.
Yes, ma'am. Louis the Nightman told me about that. I'm real sorry about that, ma'am.
I was just wondering if maybe you could shed some light on the incident. Do you know anything?
No, Mrs. Dorn, not much I know about it. All I know is Mr. Dorn came home about 5:30, and then that lady came upstairs.
What lady?
You know, the one who used to work here, Miss Albright?
Sarah was here?
Yes, ma'am, to see Mr. Dorn. He said something about her collecting some back pay.
All right, let's first talk about this part that Willard will play.
He's a terribly charming man, Mr. Maysfield, just like yourself.
Oh, I used to be charming, Mrs. Madison, but these days I prefer the word cantankerous.
Oh, well, you're nothing of the sort.
Oh, yes, I am. It took a long time for me to get old enough to be cantankerous, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Well, at any rate, this person, Edmund Whalen, is an attorney, a very proper mutton chop sort of an attorney. And don't forget, the year is 1872, and lawyers in those days were very puffy over their dignity.
Yeah, they're not much different today. I mean, certainly the ones I know, anyway.
Edmund is a very paternal man, Mr. Maysfield. That's the way I see him. He's known Hester Atherton ever since she was a little girl. Probably dandled her on his knee.
And if I had dandled you on my knee, Mrs. Madison, there would have been nothing paternal about it.
At any rate, let me describe this scene. Hester Atherton is a spinster lady who lives all alone in this gloomy old castle of a house in Salem.
Why does it have to be a castle? Why can't it be an old Victorian mansion?
Yeah, because her eccentric old father liked castles, I guess.
Yes, and so does our set designer.
Well, anyway, Hester lives alone with a couple of servants. Now, she has plenty of money, but she's a very lonely, unhappy woman.
Yes, you see, her father had forbidden her to marry some young scoundrel about 25 years before. Said he was a fortune hunter.
Which he probably was. But anyway, Hester is no better off now than she would have been if her father had allowed the marriage.
Well, what does Edmund feel about that?
Well, he's sympathetic. He likes Hester. He never really liked her father, even if he was his old friend.
And now, Edmund Whalen, attorney at law, has come to see Hester Atherton to ask her to change her way of life. Well, let's begin at the top of page 12.
Oh, I think that's where I've just asked Hester how well she remembered her young cousin, Patience Revere.
Looks like your cue, Nola.
Yes, I see it. Patience. Yes, of course I remember her. All sniffles and pigtails, always hiding under her mother's apron.
Well, that was when Patience was a small child, of course. She's 20 now. Unfortunately, there's no mother's apron to hide behind.
Yes, I heard about the fire, of course. Terrible tragedy.
Oh, in one night, Patience lost mother, father, and little brother. She was at school at the time. Well, she still is. But in a month, her schooling will be finished, and she will be ready to face the world.
As an orphan. Poor child.
A homeless orphan, Hester.
Edmund, are you suggesting that I take some responsibility for Patience Revere?
Well, it has occurred to me that you could use a companion, Hester. This house is far too big for one occupant and far too gloomy. You know, it turns loneliness into melancholy.
But I cherish my loneliness, Edmund. Didn't my dear father bless me with it a quarter of a century ago? It's my inheritance, my legacy. Just like the mill, like this house.
Loneliness does something else, Hester. It nourishes bitterness.
It's not bitterness. It's the truth. He drove away the only man who ever wanted to marry me.
Oh, there you are. Excuse me. We didn't mean to interrupt.
Sorry, Jason. Well, what is it? Steve, I didn't know you were coming out here today.
Well, Mr. Madison, we're here on police business.
Oh, dear. Is there something the matter?
Well, that's what we wanted to talk to you about. Excuse me, this is Deputy Birdwell. I'll let him explain things.
I'm Owen Madison, Deputy. What seems to be the trouble?
Well, we don't really know, Mr. Madison. We thought maybe you could tell us.
About the lights. People have been seeing lights in the building out here at nighttime.
Lights? What lights?
Sounds like you're running up quite an electric bill, Owen.
We never leave the lights out after we lock up. Oh, my God, it sounds to me like we've got prowlers.
Yeah, well, some people say ghosts.
We're not suggesting that your studio is haunted. The reason we're concerned is we know there's a lot of very valuable equipment out here.
You're darn right there is. There's about $100,000 worth of camera equipment lying around.
And there'll be even more of value when our sets get up.
Well, I hope you're insured, Owen.
That's not the point, Jason. We really can't afford to be interrupted in the middle of production by petty thefts.
Mr. Madison, have you noticed anything missing?
No, nothing to my knowledge.
Well, did you see any signs of breaking and entering, like busted locks, windows, anything like that?
No, honestly, nothing at all.
Well, Deputy, I thought these stories were coming from people with overactive imaginations.
You mean the people who are always seeing flying saucers and little green men?
Well, old Mrs. Bryce, who lives down at Mill Pond, well, she's about as level-headed as they come, and she said there was a light moving around inside this place.
Well, there may have been. We're obviously renovating the place, as you can see.
You do your renovation after midnight?
No, we don't.
Mr. Madison, I'm afraid it sounds like you have intruders. Although I don't know how people get in here without breaking in.
Or maybe there are secret passages.
Yeah, right. May I suggest find a night watchman?
Yeah, well, we did discuss that, actually.
I don't suppose you're in the market for a job, Mr. Guthrie.
No, thank you, Mrs. Madison. I'm full-time on the police force now.
Detective Guthrie did an absolutely wonderful job protecting our daughter, Paige.
Mr. Madison. If you're looking for somebody to watch this place, maybe I can help.
Is there someone you can recommend?
No, I guess I meant myself. You see, I'm only a part-time deputy, and I'm free most nights.
Well, I think that's a very good idea, Owen. For one thing, Deputy Birdwell, was it?
Yes, ma'am.
Deputy Birdwell undoubtedly knows everyone in town.
Mm-hmm.
And if he spots some young rascals
Well, that
around
certainly makes sense. I mean, if we hire a local lawman, that's certainly going to discourage these night prowlers.
Unless they are ghosts, of course.
Yes, well, how do we know they're not? At least that would certainly explain how they got into the studio without breaking in doors or windows.
Mrs. Madison, I'm sure we'll find a very human explanation for all this.
You know, I think you people are really beginning to take this ghost business seriously. You really believe this material.
I believe in movies, Willard. That's all.
And how about you, Deputy?
Well, I don't see many movies. Or ghosts, for that matter.
We were hoping you could tell us. All we know is you were found unconscious in Margot's living room. And you had a lump on your head the size of a croquet ball.
How'd I get here?
In an ambulance. We weren't even sure what your condition was until they took x-rays. You're going to be all right, but you had a concussion.
Who found me?
Margot did. She came back from her political dinner, and there you were. Do you have any recollection of what happened?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I do. It's a little hazy, but I do.
Were you dizzy? Miles said you might have had dizzy spell.
Miles there, too?
No. He's in the hospital, though, visiting some patients. I think he just wanted to give us some time alone.
Maybe he's right about being dizzy. I haven't felt well for a couple of days now.
Well, I think I know what's wrong with you.
Oh, you do, Doctor? Tell me.
Well, first of all, you missed me terribly. You couldn't stand being apart from me, and that made you very, very sick.
Oh, well, you're partially right. I did feel miserable being away from you. It was very cold and very lonely.
Good. Also, it's something else, but it's something that usually happens to women when they're pregnant.
Well, then why would I have symptoms like that?
Well, this dizziness, the sickness. I usually had in the morning, right?
Yeah. Oh, come on, you're not gonna tell me that I am suffering from a psychological illness because of Jamie and all that.
No, I'm telling you that you have the real thing. April, you're pregnant. You're going to have a baby.
Deborah, I don't want to hear any bad jokes. I have a very bad headache.
April, no, I'm not joking. I'm serious.
Are you trying to tell me that you've changed your mind about Jamie and you want Jamie to stay with us?
No, I'm trying to tell you that the doctors in Mayfield who said you'd never have a baby after the fall were wrong. We're in our 3rd month.
We?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Oh, I don't believe it. It really is a miracle. I mean, after those doctors were so positive in Mayfield.
It was only one doctor, and he didn't say impossible. He just said unlikely.
Well, it doesn't matter now. What really matters now is that it's true.
And the timing couldn't be better, believe me.
Speaking of timing, I guess I have been awful these past couple of days, acting like a mad woman, huh?
No, you were acting like a woman who had her child taken away from her. It wasn't your fault. It was Raven. She made you feel like Jamie belonged to you.
Well, I was still wrong to say those things that I did to you.
Well, maybe I was wrong, too, in just giving the baby back to Logan without talking to you. I didn't know what else to do.
Logan, oh, boy, God, I must have made him miserable lately.
Don't worry about that. He'll get over that.
April?
No, please don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Does your head hurt that much?
Well, it's bad, but it's getting better, especially since I heard some good news. Have you heard some good news?
Yes, I heard the good news. I was here at the hospital last night when the doctor told us.
Mm-hmm.
Darling, very thrilled for you. Very proud. I'm happy for both of you.
Thank you.
April, I've got to know something. I've got to know how this happened. How did you injure yourself last night?
I, turned quickly. I must have gotten dizzy because of the pregnancy, and I fell.
That just doesn't explain everything quite. Darling, were you alone last night?
Look, of course she was alone. I mean, why shouldn't she be? You were at that political dinner, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Well, what about Elliot? I mean, he wasn't there, was he? April. Was Elliot there?
I don't really want to talk about this just right now.
Please, darling, you've got to tell me. Did Elliot have anything to do with this? Honey, it's just that so many things don't make sense. I mean, Sarah and the jewels suddenly appearing. Darling, look, I know that Elliot was not there when I found you, and I know that he didn't come home last night, and I know that he spent the night at the Unicorn, and now I find out that Sarah was there, and darling, I've got to know the truth. Please tell me. Did Elliot have anything at all to do with what happened to you?
Yes.
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find, always on our mind, and frustrated days pass without sight, the edge of night, half dark, half light, as we watch our hearts trying to hold the tenderness that we once had, halfway glad, halfway sad.
You know, I just can't wait to get out of this bed. Because as long as I'm in bed, I think it's still a dream.
You're going to be out of here tomorrow, I promise. And you're going to be home, right where you belong. And I mean home, not Martha.
I know where my home is. My home is with the father of my baby boy.
Hey, now, wait a minute. Suppose it's a baby girl.
Suppose it's twins, one of each, or triplets, or quintuplets.
I know, come on, April, give me a break. We only have one extra room, remember? And one salary now.
2 salaries. I don't plan on giving up my job.
Well, sooner or later, you know, you're going to have to quit.
But pregnant women do not have to stop working. I will take my leave of absence when the time comes, but I've already told Margot she's not losing an assistant. She is gaining a granddaughter. Oh, speaking of Margot, I felt so bad. She was so upset when I told her about Elliot.
She was upset. I was upset. I'm telling you, April, if I ever get my hands on Mr. Dorn, I'm going to rearrange his perfect features.
Evening, Mrs. Dorn.
Oscar?
Oh, by the way, I'm doing just what you asked me to do. I'm making sure that elevator door is always locked when I'm away from that desk.
Oh, thank you, Oscar.
And I just told Mr. Dorn that a couple of minutes ago.
Mr. Dorn?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, he just came home. He's upstairs right now.
How nice. Very anxious to see you, Mr. Dorn.
Hello, darling. Fortifying myself. Do they still call it Dutch courage?
What do you need courage for, Elliot?
That's obvious, isn't it? For being a naughty boy, for staying out all night.
Oh, I see.
Well, are you ready for my feeble explanation?
Go ahead.
Well, I must warn you, it's not very ingenious. That just proves it's genuine. Well, I fell asleep.
Oh.
That's right. I had one drink too many with one of my customers at the Unicorn. Before I knew it, I was passed out in my own office. Woke up the next morning. You can't imagine how seedy a nightclub looks in the early hours of the morning.
Yes, and of course telephones don't work in the daylight.
Well, I thought things are so easily misconstrued over the phone that I'd better see you in person. But then again, I didn't want to disturb you at the studio, so I waited till this evening.
Aren't you omitting one small detail?
What?
Do you want to know where I was a good part of last night and a good part of this morning?
Where?
Monticello General Hospital, where my daughter is. She sustained a rather mysterious injury last night, or maybe it wasn't so mysterious.
Yes. Yes, I was coming to that part.
By all means, don't let me delay you.
Well, Margot, I'm sure April has told you a highly melodramatic version of what happened here. And I'm sure the injury to her head couldn't have helped her imagination in any way. One doesn't think very well when one has a headache, does one? Well, how is she?
Well, how nice of you to ask. Well, she's fine. It turns out it was only a slight concussion.
I'm very glad to hear that. It's bad enough that your daughter has another ailment. Yes, extreme prejudice.
Against yourself?
Yes, Margot. Against me. Margot, I've always hesitated to tell you about this because I know how you feel about your daughter, but April has some very wrong ideas about me. There was one afternoon, for example, a few months ago, when she came in here and saw what she thought to be an intimate scene between me and Sarah, for heaven's sake. Which was nothing of the kind, of course.
Of course.
And ever since then, her imagination did the rest, and she's been convinced I was the devil. Aren't you going to take that ridiculous thing down, Margot?
No, Elliot, please continue the story about Sarah. I find that fascinating.
Well, I'm sure April must have told you that, too. Sarah was here last night.
Oh, no, April didn't tell me. Oscar did. It seems Sarah didn't bother sneaking in through the basement. I must say that is to her credit.
She didn't have to sneak in, Margot. She came by invitation.
Well, expecting, of course, that neither I nor April would be here.
Oh, that was mandatory. She wouldn't discuss this matter with anyone else present.
Which matter?
The jewelry, Margot. I'm sure you must have seen your stolen jewelry back on the bar last night.
Yes, I did, on the bar, yes.
Wow. How do you think they got here? Sarah brought them back. Sarah was the one responsible for the robbery at our apartment.
Really?
Yes! I suspected her for months. But I had no real proof, you know. I always thought it was too easy, you know, for the burglars to get into this apartment. Even the police said it was an inside job, didn't they?
Yes, so they did.
Well, it was. The burglars were friends of Sarah. Well, I had no real proof. And she wouldn't admit a thing, of course, but I kept after her until she was frightened enough to return the jewelry.
Oh, my goodness, that was so clever of you, Elliot.
Well, of course, I promised her we wouldn't press charges. That was part of the deal. Well, at least you have your stolen jewelry back. I thought that would be a wonderful surprise, Margot.
Only you were the one that was surprised by April being here.
April got it wrong, Margot. April is so obsessed about me. She has so many suspicions of me that she saw once again what she thought was an intimate scene once again.
And you felt you had to attack her?
I didn't attack her. I said some nasty things to her, but I certainly didn't attack her. I was very annoyed at her nosiness. I can't remember exactly what I said.
Well, you didn't threaten her. You didn't threaten to throw her off that terrace.
Of course not, Margot.
And when she tried to escape from you, wasn't that because she was terrified?
She was hysterical. There's an enormous difference, Margot. Margot, look, please, don't let the hysteria of a meddling busybody spoil what we have between us.
Elliot, I just want to know one thing. Did you see April when she fell and hurt herself?
Well, I saw her fall, but I realized at once it wasn't serious.
Oh, my, that's amazing. Because, you see, the intern that came and took her to the hospital didn't know how serious it was. He wasn't even sure she would live to get to the hospital.
Margot, come on.
No, what you did was walk into that elevator. You walked into that elevator and left what could have been a dying girl lying there on the floor, and you went to your precious nightclub and you drank yourself into a stupor, and then 24 hours later you come back here and tell me this carefully contrived story.
Margot, I knew you'd be home any minute and you would take care of her.
Oh, you are a liar.
Now, Margot.
Now, I've always known you were a liar, and I decided that I could live with that. I also suspected you were a thief.
Now, Margot,
I decided I could live with that, too. But now I know you're a coward. Oh, you can't even face up to the consequences of anything you do. I'm sorry, I can't live with that. I want you out of here. I want you out of this room, out of this apartment, and out of my life.
I don't mind you working. I just want to make sure that you are very careful with our little girl.
I will be very, very careful with our little boy. How's that?
Open up.
Hey,
Steve.
How are you?
Congratulations. I heard the news first thing this
Hey.
morning.
Thank you very much.
Hey, how about me? Please, right here, gently, gently, gently. Thank you. Did you come all the way down here just to give me that little peck on the cheek?
No, as a matter of fact, I came down here for another reason.
Well, what is it?
Well, I wanted to know whether April would like to press charges of assault against Elliot Dorn.
No, Steve, please, I really don't want to make a big deal out of this.
Well, from what I heard, he was responsible.
No, it was really my fault. I don't believe that I was in any real danger from Elliot.
April, even if it was only a threat of physical violence which caused your injury, you do have a case against Elliot Dorn.
Well, to my way of thinking, the worst thing he did was just to walk away and leave you there.
Steve, look, if I press charges against Elliot, a lot of very ugly things would come out that would hurt Margot very deeply. And as far as I'm concerned, I think the fact that she's married to that man is bad enough.
Yeah, you do have a point there.
I just really want to forget about the whole thing, okay? Really, I just want to go home with my husband and be alone. You know, just the two of us. For about 6 months anyway.
I really envy you, too. You really got it made.
No, I mean, I don't mind some talk about the curse on Mansion of the Damned. I mean, after all, it is a good publicity hook. But I'm telling you, it's getting out of hand right now.
Come on, Owen. You can't be really concerned about
I am concerned about Trent Archer.
your leading man?
Well, you met him at the party, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I met him at the party. He's very handsome. Maybe a little bit of a ham, huh?
Listen, there's enough ham in him to make sandwiches for everyone in this restaurant. But he's a name, and at least he's not asking an exorbitant salary.
Well, then what's the problem?
I'll tell you. He's a believer. Oh, yeah? Oh, he believes in everything. He believes in astrology and numerology and ESP and flying saucers and witches and hobgoblins. I mean...
Nervous type.
Yeah, I'm getting more nervous by the minute.
Well, then, you think you might quit?
That and the fact that he might transmit some of this nervousness to other people.
Like your wife, for instance.
Well, Nola's doing a pretty good job of pretending that she isn't affected by all this. Because she knows that I might change my mind about making the movie, you know?
You really think she's concerned about the movie's curse?
Well, she might get worried enough to find a remedy, and Nola knows only one kind of nerve medicine. Oh, God. Sometimes I wish I'd never started this project. I tell you.
Why did you? Really? It was for Nola, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was for Nola. Out of a sense of guilt. Yeah, I feel that I should give her the chance to be a star again. You know?
But why?
Isn't it obvious? I'm falling in love with another woman.
Owen, I don't know what to say to you. You don't even know me. Look, I think I should say something very discouraging right now to you, like maybe we shouldn't see each other anymore. Or something. You're a married man, Owen. Do you realize that? And there are women who may be able to accept that, but I am not one of them.
And if I wasn't married, Deb, if I was free, what would you think then, huh?
What are we doing?
Oh, look. I'm not asking you to make up your mind now. I'm just asking you to continue seeing me, okay? That's all I need to know right now. I can look forward to seeing you again.
Hey, aren't you the ingenue?
I am the co-star. Will you put that away?
Great shot.
Hey, what's this box?
Oh, I don't know. Something Eddie had arranged to be delivered out here from California.
The cover says Mrs. D. Hooks, Brian.
Hooks, that's the name of the screenwriter page. That's the guy that was killed when he was thrown off that horse.
The devil in the form of a horse.
Must be reference material. They're all books.
Huh.
The Satanic Bible. Spells and Sorcery. Let's see what this is. Malleus Maleficarum. It's Latin hammer or something like that. Here it is. Hammer of Witches. Published 1484. Well, it's right up to date, isn't it?
Ooh, look at this one. How old?
Let's see. My Life with Satan by Hester Atherton.
Paige, that manuscript was burned by Donald Hook's wife.
Well, it is burned. It's all charred around the edges.
Let me see. It's the real thing, all right. How do you like that? It really exists.
Complete with spells and curses.
Yeah, I guess so.
Do you suppose there's a spell in there that would solve our problem?
Paige, there is no solution to our problem. We just have to forget about it, okay?
Have you?
Well, Dad is really going to be surprised when he sees this, isn't he? So's Eddie. I don't understand it.
Maybe it can't burn. Maybe the manuscript is enchanted.
Paige, did you talk to Dad tonight?
No, I didn't. He had a dinner date.
Another business dinner, right?
I don't know. I don't know, Brian.
Did you see my mother?
No, I didn't see your mother. What is the matter with you, Brian? You have been so quiet these past couple of days. I know you're not brooding over some unrequited love. You had that date with the woman at the office.
Paige, did you know that Dad was seeing another woman?
That's not true.
No, it is. I heard my mother talking with Eddie the other night. He's seeing that lady detective, Deborah Saxon. I'm not saying there's anything we can do about it. These days, you just have to let parents go their own way, right?
Oh, yeah. It's a shame it's not the same for their children.
Well, hello. Hi. How was your dinner?
Oh, it was all right.
Did you get anything accomplished this time?
No, not really. Say, where's Eddie? There's some things that we have to talk about.
There are things that we should talk about, Owen.
Such as what?
Well, what is it you discuss at your business dinners? I'd enjoy hearing about that, I'm sure.
Oh, no. Bore you to tears.
No, I don't think so. I think I'd get a great deal of pleasure out of your kind of business dinner. The kind that includes kisses for dessert.
Tell me something, Nola. Did you follow me? Or was it just an accident that you were at the same restaurant? Huh?
Does it really matter?
No, all right. Doesn't matter. All right. Whatever you want to say, go ahead and say it. I did lie to you. There are times when lies are better than the truth.
Is that supposed to be a disarming remark?
No, it's just a statement of fact. I wanted to have dinner with Deborah Saxon. Obviously, I couldn't tell you about it, so I had to make up this mythical business dinner. It was not honest, but it was necessary.
And this dinner date was necessary.
To me. Yes.
And where do you and Deborah go after these dinners?
Nowhere. She won't even let me drive her home. Sometimes she doesn't even go home. She has to report to headquarters.
Poor darlings. Do you mean you're never alone together? How terribly frustrating that must be.
We're not having an affair, Nola.
Because you can't be alone? Is that the only barrier? Surely a man with your ingenuity could have figured out something, Owen. You never had any trouble inventing stories for your wife when you were seeing me back in Hollywood.
All right, Nola, look. I'm tired, all right? I'm just too tired to discuss this right now. Can we talk about it in the morning?
A lady policeman. Oh, Owen, it's just too bizarre. A lady cop. And so young at that. What on earth has happened to your sense of taste? You've cast the most beautiful women in the world in your movies.
I married one, too.
And I'm no longer beautiful to you. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Oh, no, I am not trying to tell you that. Look, I've just admitted that I have been seeing Deborah. I mean, what more can I say, huh?
You can say that tonight was the last time. Please, Owen. You can say that the kiss I saw tonight was a kiss goodbye. Can't you tell me that?
No, I can't. I'm sorry.
You know, it's really very funny. It's almost like our movie, isn't it? The Mansion of the Damned. Hester Atherton and Tom Halifax and the young girl who took him away from her.
No, I'm going to bed.
Well, you better be careful, darling. Remember what Hester did. Remember her spells and curses? Do you remember this one? Fever rack, bones crack, savage creatures, wild. Perdition to his ancestors and death unto his child.
I can tell you what the curse is on this movie, Dad. It's just plain carelessness and stupidity.
Brian, if anybody was careless and stupid, it was me.
All you did was touch that damn flat and it fell over.
Thank God you weren't hurt, Paige. I think I would have had to shut down the whole production if anything happened to you.
All you'd have to do, Daddy, is hire some more handsome, strong men to make sure the place was secure, that's all.
Oh, well, you're right about that. Trouble is that it's hard to find any crewmen around here. Nobody has any experience.
Well, I think you should have a talk with the crewmen we do have and make sure they know what they're doing.
I think I should be having a talk with the two of you. What were you doing hanging around that place after dark?
We just went over there because we heard about all those mysterious lights. We wanted to catch the ghost of Hester Atherton.
Oh. Well, there are no more mysterious lights, and there aren't going to be any more. I hired a man with a gun, and the funniest thing happened. Ghost just seemed to vanish.
It was probably a bunch of local kids, Paige. They were trying to see what they could lift.
Oh, I know, Brian. I'm not worried about those ghost stories, but the truth is that... Forget it.
No. Go on, Paige. What?
Well, right before that flat fell last night, You're gonna laugh at me.
Paige, go ahead and say it.
I thought I saw something. I thought I saw the red, glowing face of a woman. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. That place is kind of spooky in the dark. You could imagine anything.
Well, I'm sure that's all it was, your imagination.
Especially with all this talk about witches and the devil.
Well, don't knock it, Brian. That's what this movie's all about. Witchcraft and the devil. And speaking of the devil, I hope you two realize that we have rehearsal in exactly 1 hour.
That's right. What about Mom? Is she going to be there?
Well, actually, she's not feeling so hot today, Brian, so I just told her to stay home and steady her lines, and we try to do those scenes that just don't include her.
Dad, is she okay?
Oh, yeah, she's okay, Brian, but she's going to be working very hard in this film, and I thought it was probably just a good idea for her to conserve her strength as much as possible.
Sure.
So what I thought we'd do is we'd work on those scenes with you, Paige, you and the attorney, Edmund Wayland, and the first scene with Trent Archer.
Oh, well, I better go get ready.
Well, I guess you better.
Paige and Edmund.
Well, Erwin Lowell's coming tomorrow, the cinematographer.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to meeting him.
Cinematographer. That's quite a word, isn't it? Well, I guess it's better than cameraman.
Dad, I hope he doesn't resent having me as an assistant with my notable lack of experience.
Well, Brian, I think it's going to be Jason Reinhardt who's going to be making most use of your services.
I hope you know that I want to help in any way I can.
Yes, I do, Brian. So I want you to know how much I appreciate your whole attitude during this production.
Thanks, Dad. I guess you know the real reason why I'm working on it. Because my mother would be very bitterly disappointed if I didn't. And I think she's had too many bitter disappointments lately.
Oh, I don't know, Brian. I think she's been through the worst of it. She's going to come through this fine. Who knows? Maybe be a movie star again, huh?
That'd be terrific, wouldn't it? Yeah. If it happened. I don't think it's something she can count on, do you?
Well, who can foretell the future, huh? Even with witchcraft.
You can never be sure about a career. Or a marriage. Dad, listen, there's something that I've got to tell you. I overheard something the other day. I didn't mean to. I just heard it. I know it's none of my business and that even parents have the rights of privacy.
What is it, Brian?
Deborah Saxon.
I see. What did you hear exactly?
Exact words don't matter.
Oh, indeed they do, Brian. You heard that I was seeing Deborah.
Yes, sir.
What does the word seeing mean to you?
The important thing is what it means to Mom.
Brian, I'm not going to try to justify myself to you or tell you everything that goes on between your mother and myself. But I do want you to know this much. I'm not having an affair with Deborah Saxon. Now, I am seeing her. And at the moment, I'm going to continue seeing her because it's very important to me.
Dad, listen
to
me.
Now, wait a minute, Brian. Let me just finish. See, I also want you to know that your mother knows what's going on. Now, I don't mean to suggest that she approves it or even understands it. But, Brian, I'm trying to be as honest as I possibly can about this.
Dad, you don't have to tell me all this. I don't need explanations or justifications. I just felt that you should be told how much I know.
I appreciate your consideration. Brian, right now, the thing this family has to concentrate on is getting this movie made. Right?
Yes, sir.
Anybody in here want to borrow a book called What to Name the Baby?
Logan, come on in. It's good to see you.
Listen, when I heard the news, wild horses couldn't keep me away. A couple tried right outside the office, but I lost them in traffic. How about a little kiss? I'm so happy for you. I'm sorry about the bump, but I'm happy about the baby, you know, as long as it doesn't look like Draper.
What do you got behind your back?
What? Where? Something behind my back? Oh, those!
Barney?
Yes.
Oh, look, and they're beautiful.
Just like you.
Thank you. Pull up a chair.
Oh, I thought you'd never ask.
So, we can put them in here.
Oh. Here we go.
Oh, they're beautiful. Thank you.
Well, you're more than welcome.
So, tell me, how's Jamie?
Oh, fine. Fine. Nothing phases him. He just grins and bears it. I envy him.
Good. Geraldine's taking care of him, huh?
Yeah, she's crazy about him. Couldn't be more crazy about him if she was his mother. And she's made me a solemn vow that she will not behave like a stereotyped grandmother and spoil him to death. She's going to leave that to me.
Terrific. Listen, by any chance, did you hear any of the mean and rotten things I happened to say about Geraldine Saxon?
No, what did you say?
Good, because I was going to ask you to forget all about them.
Oh, I think we'd both like to forget most of what's happened in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'd say just about all of it,
Mhm.
except maybe for one thing.
What's that?
Well, when my husband walked into my hospital room and told me that I was with child.
Oh, yes, I can imagine that. Tell me, how long has it been since the doctors, in their wisdom, told you that you would never have a child?
Oh, a year? A year? What a strange way to find out. I mean, I come in the hospital, I'm admitted to the hospital with a concussion, and I walk out pregnant.
Miracle of modern science. Either that or the hospital was having a 2-for-1 sale.
What?
Shoppers, would all women with concussions please report to the maternity ward?
Oh, don't make me laugh too hard. It hurts. In all seriousness, though, Logan, can you forgive me for the mean things I did for claiming that Jamie was mine?
I know how you felt. Besides, you had a good deal of right on your side. That's why I was so scared. Raven had the right to dispose of Jamie any way she wanted to. She was the only legal parent.
But she was not the only parent, and I knew that. I always knew that you were Jamie's father. Just that I wanted him so much. I adore that little kid. I mean, I didn't want to admit the truth. I didn't want to think things out clearly.
Now, it's hard to think logically when you're in the middle of something like that.
And then to top it all off, it split Draper and me up.
Split? What split up? I mean, you moved away for a few blocks for a little
Well,
while.
it seemed like 100 miles, and it seemed like 100 years. It was awful.
And to think, the whole time you were pregnant. Oh, wow, Irene. I talked to Steve Guthrie this morning to change the subject, and he told me that you do not want to press charges against Elliot. Is that right?
No, there's no point to it. Look, I don't want to put Elliot in jail. I would just be happy if he gets out of Margot's life.
Another marriage bites the dust, huh?
Sorry.
Oh, come on. Don't you read the statistics? 4.7 out of all 10 marriages in the country end in divorce. Something. Oh, wait a minute. No, the closing figure last night I think was 5.3.
What, Dow Jones?
Straight up. You throw in all the separations and the unhappy marriages that stay together for the sake of the children or some
Hey.
rotten reason.
Hey, you're going to depress us.
Oh, no, don't want to do that. You haven't got time to be depressed. You're going to be too busy being a mama. I haven't got time to be depressed. I'm too busy trying to hang on to my job. Which reminds me, you've got to be well enough on election day to vote early and often.
Hey, well, I would think that under the circumstances, you know, I could legitimately vote twice.
Votes for the unborn, what an issue.
Hey, listen, we all know who the best man for the job is.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speak into the microphone here. A little unsolicited testimonial,
Well,
yes?
I'm kind of camera shy.
Well, just use superlatives. They look good on the posters.
Okay,
all right?
Logan Swift, I just want to tell you that I think you are one of the most
Uh-huh. Creative now.
goodest.
Goodest! Very nice.
I mean it. I mean it. I think you are one of the best men I know in the whole world.
Oh, gee, ma'am.
I mean it.
I gotta get Draper into a poker game real soon. I'm gonna clean up. The man is bound to be very unlucky at cards.
Hey, I don't want to see an 18-year-old kid in prison either, Draper, but being 18 makes him an adult in this state.
Look, Nelson, if the kid had taken his joyride one day earlier, he would have been 17.
What?
It's right there in the brief. Look.
Yeah, you're right. Did happen on his birthday. But that doesn't give him an excuse to steal a car as a birthday present.
He didn't steal it. It belonged to a friend of his. He was returning it when the policeman picked him up.
Yeah, you believe that, and I got a bridge I want to sell you.
Yeah, I do believe it. And you'd believe it, too, if you talked to him. Talk to his family. Now, come on. Give the kid's family a break.
Well, maybe we're giving the kid's family a break by putting this kid in jail, huh?
You need a soul, Nelson.
You think I'm mean, right?
No. You need a new pair of shoes.
Oh, yeah, you're right. We assistant district attorneys don't get the money you defense attorneys get. Do I really come off that vicious? Hey, I think I'm a soft-hearted guy. Look, it's my opinion that that's the reason why Logan is running for district attorney and all I'm running for is a bus every morning. Hey, if I wanted to be mean, if I wanted to play power politics, Don't get me started.
Look, let's leave Logan Swift out of this and deal with Charlie Robinson, all right?
You should see that guy around the office, Draper. I mean, he is useless. His wife walks out on him, and all he's doing now is bumping in the walls.
Let's just deal with the case.
What's the matter? Don't you care?
I do.
I thought you were supposed to be his best friend or
I
something.
am.
Well, then you better talk to him, because he is in serious trouble. I think he's going to lose this election. I mean, what does it look like? His wife won't even vote for him.
Oh, that's enough, Nelson. Look at the latest polls. They put him points ahead of his opponent.
Yeah, and look at the dates of those polls. That's before Raven flew off to London. Look, politics is a very funny business, Draper. They'll forgive you if you lie or you cheat or you take a bribe, but fool around with your secretary or let your wife walk out on you. We don't want no district attorney around here who's a lousy lover.
I didn't know you were worried about him.
Oh, I am. He's my friend, too.
He's also your boss. And if he were here right now, we'd be talking business instead of nonsense. So let's get to it, all right? What is taking you so long? That brief is only 2 pages. Triple spaced.
I'm thinking. I'm a very careful reader.
Obviously not careful enough. You know, now I know why I was able to pull that videotape stunt on you with Winter Austin. And why I was able to push Paige Madison's litigation past you so quickly. You have a 3rd grade reading level. Hey, look, come on. I know that Charlie Robinson was arrested before, but he was a kid, a minor, 15. He got picked up for...
Very touching story.
No, look, Logan told me you weren't allowed to give me a hard time on this matter.
Logan said what? Hey, I make up my own mind on these cases. And I don't think I want this guy to get off, all right? That's my decision, Counselor. Now, if you excuse me, I gotta run.
Eating those words is going to give you indigestion, Nelson. You know, when I was younger, I thought attorneys had more integrity than anybody else in the world. I mean, that's why I wanted to become a lawyer. I thought the law was an honorable business, conducted by honorable people in an honorable way. I think maybe now you're the exception. And as far as making up your own mind, oh, Nelson, you've been sitting on the sidelines so long, I don't think you're smart enough to be a quarterback.
Wonderful metaphor. Who writes your material? You forget that Brutus was also an honorable man. I took an oath when I passed the bar examination of this state to uphold the law, even against 18-year-olds. I'll remember this, Draper.
We'll do this one on our feet, all right? Just you and Willard, Page. First, I want to make sure you both understand the situation.
It's my character I want to understand, Jason. What does Whalen feel for this young woman?
Paternal sympathy, of course.
Oh, what a shame, old boy. I was hoping for overpowering lust.
All right, Paige. As for you, please remember, you've lost both your parents in a fire overnight. Now, you're completely without a home or with anyone to look after you. And you're afraid of the big, cruel world outside. Okay. All right, now you've just arrived at this big old gloomy mansion in Salem, Massachusetts. And you've yet to meet the woman who will be in charge of your life.
And your death.
Well, let's not get ahead of the story, Owen. I like to see it unfold. I think actors do their best work in sequence.
Are we going to spend all day on the theory of acting? I thought we were going to rehearse my first scene, too.
We were, Trent, but we do have a problem. Nola couldn't be here today.
Oh, that's all right, Mr. Archer. We'll do it anyway, right after we do this. Brian, I understand you'd like to videotape the scene.
Yes, sir. I thought it would be useful to study the tape before filming.
Well, that's a fine idea. Excuse me, please. Willard, if you'll stand over by the staircase, please. Paige, take the chair over there.
Okay.
You know where we're going? All right, if you'll begin, please.
What a big house this is.
It's a castle, my dear. It's a recreation of a feudal castle in Brittany. Oh, you can almost see a medieval knight clanking around this room. Do you know much about knights?
Well, I have read Mort d'Arthur. It was one of my favorite books. It was a very romantic period, wasn't it?
Well, I'll tell you about knights, patient. They were sharp.
What?
That's true. You can see the medieval armor in the museum. They were very short men, these bold knights. Oh, don't fret, child. Just live up to your name. Miss Atherton will be here shortly.
Mr. Whalen, do you think Miss Atherton will like me?
Oh, she will. All you have to do is remember the virtues they taught you in school. They did teach virtue.
Well, I studied French and Latin, history and mathematics, and something they called deportment. Is that anything like virtue?
Absolutely. That's the best definition I have ever heard of virtue. Deportment. There's only one problem, my child. Why did you have to be so lovely?
Oh, that's fine, just fine. You do it that way on film and we'll have a charming scene. Don't you think so, Owen?
Oh, it looked great to me. What'd you think, Trent?
Oh, why is it so damn warm in here?
Actually, I thought it was rather cool.
Well, it isn't. It's as hot as the hinges of hell.
Please, don't use that word.
I put the air conditioner up a notch. That ought to cool the place down, Mr. Archer.
Thank you, thank you.
Are you sure you're up to rehearsing this scene?
Let's get on with it, huh?
All right, Paige, if you wouldn't mind standing in for Nola, please. Somebody get Paige's script, please. Here. Thank you. All right, Mr. Archer, as you know, you are the devil, but in human form. Mr. Nicholas Harriman, businessman.
I know.
Anytime.
I admit that the devil was born in man's imagination, Miss Atherton. How, as you know, what Voltaire said, if God did not exist, it'd be necessary to invent him. The same thing applies to the devil.
But if the devil is only imaginary, Mr. Harriman, we have nothing to fear from him.
My sentiments, Miss Atherton, you have nothing to fear as long as you don't believe.
Well, I don't. Not in the devil, not in witchcraft, and most especially not in the powers of my ancestor, the first Hester Atherton.
She looked very much like you, you know.
Did she? How do you know?
Why, her portrait, of course.
There was no portrait.
Then I am mistaken. Excuse me. Do you mind if I stand by the fire?
The flames are dying.
Yes. Now let us get down to business, Miss Atherton. As I said, I may be interested in purchasing this mill of yours, if the price is right, and if we, Line.
If we cannot come to terms about the mill.
If we cannot come to terms about the mill, perhaps we can discuss another purchase.
Such as what? I have nothing more to sell.
Don't you?
I once heard that my ancestor sold her soul to the devil.
People place too much value on their immortal souls. What good is a product with only one buyer?
Trent!
Danny, what is the matter with you?
I think he collapsed.
Dear God, it's really true. There really is a curse on this movie.
Come on, just take it easy.
Oh,
Just put
yes.
him over on the sofa,
All right,
Brian.
then.
Just relax for a while,
Yes,
Trent.
yes,
You'll be all
thank
right.
you, thank
You gave us quite a scare, Mr. Archer. Why don't you let us call a doctor?
No doctors. I can't bear them.
Can I get you some water?
Oh, yes, it's got some scotch in it.
I thought you didn't drink.
I'm making an exception this evening.
I thought I heard voices down here. What are you doing back so soon? I thought you'd be rehearsing well into the night.
We had to wrap early.
Mr. Archer wasn't feeling well.
What happened?
Trent was running through one of his scenes, and for no apparent reason, he suddenly collapsed.
For heaven's sake.
Yes, I was just getting into the guise of the devil when I felt this overpowering sensation of heat.
Well, perhaps you're coming down with something, like a virus or one of those things.
Just have a good night's sleep. You'll just feel fine, I'm sure.
Mr. Archer, have you ever had this sensation before?
Yes, I have, as a matter of fact.
Well, have you seen a doctor?
The first time I had it was right here, in this house. You know, the time that I sat down to reread the script of Mansion of the Damned.
And you were in Dad's study, right?
Yes.
You know, there's a fireplace in there. Maybe you just got overheated.
No, it wasn't that. I'm sure it wasn't that. It had something to do with the role I'm playing.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Trent.
No, I'm serious. It's as though the devil himself was warning me not to play him.
Trent, I realize that you had a very frightening experience, but I doubt whether it had very much to do with the devil.
No, I just never had it. I've never experienced this kind of sensation without dealing with the devil, or maybe the devil's dealing with me.
Mr. Archer, you can't be serious.
No. Now, they say history repeats itself. Now, twice before, Mansion of the Dam was left unfinished after one of the actors met with a untimely death.
Both of those leading ladies died of completely natural causes, not from a supernatural curse.
Then can you explain what happened to me tonight?
Oh, Trent, I'm sure you're going to be just fine.
Look, Mr. Archer, why don't you let Paige and me help you up to your room, all right?
Oh, I just know that I never should have let my agent talk me into this.
Well, you did because you're perfect for the role of Nicholas Harriman.
Yes, but deliberately pulling the tail of the devil.
Yes.
Oh.
Lord, protect me from bill collectors and superstitious actors. Honestly, Nola, I've sunk the better part of my capital into Mansion of the Damned, which is a pretty risky business, and now all I hear is curses and prophecies of doom, honestly. Just wonder whether it's worth it or not.
Oh, you don't mean that, darling. You thrive on pressure.
Look, now I have to wet nurse this hysterical actor.
Oh, Trent will get over this. He just had a dizzy spell or something. And about the money, Owen, you know you can always rely on me if you need it.
No, Nola. Now, we made a bargain about this a long time ago. That money stays where it is.
No, but this picture means just as much to me as it does to you.
Nonetheless, it is your money. You earned it, and you created the trust that protects it. I just want to keep things the way they are.
Yes. That's all I want to do, too, Owen. Keep things the way they are. Tell me, how's the search for Tom Halifax coming along?
Well, we put the word out in New York and Los Angeles. Plenty of applicants, of course. I could be auditioning people from now until the beginning of the year. The trouble is I just can't afford the time.
Yes, well, we must have a known quantity, darling.
I know. Oh, by the way, don't forget that theater party tomorrow night. Now, Margot speaks very highly of that actor, Chris Rafferty. She thinks he's just the guy we're looking for.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. You and I haven't been out in public in a very long time.
I know.
Oh, you're not really getting discouraged, are you?
Frankly, yes. No, I think we ought to just chalk this one up to experience.
No, you can't mean that.
I've had my doubts from the beginning, Nola, and now...
Just because of the curse, Owen? Look, if that's what you're worried about...
Nola, I don't believe in curses. Come on. I believe in common sense. Common sense tells me it's just not going to work. Nola, I think we ought to just cut our losses.
You can't do that. Owen, you can't give up now. You know how much this picture means to me. This is my last chance, Owen, my last chance to get back what I've lost. You owe me this movie.
I owe it to you?
Yes. After all you've taken from me, the least you can do is give me back my career.
Wait a minute. After all I've taken from you.
Oh, not my money. No, you've been very careful about that, but you've taken something far more important. Your love, Owen. That's the only thing I've ever wanted from you, and now it's all gone.
No, come on. Don't talk like that.
Why? Because it isn't true? Because you still love me with all your heart? If that were true, you wouldn't have taken up with her.
Please, Nola, not now. I've got work to do.
You'll always have something to do before you'll talk about her, won't you? Owen, do you love her? Does she love you? You're not being honest, you know. You've always prided yourself on your honesty, Owen. Why can't you display a little of it now?
Because sometimes it's just too damn painful.
All right. Maybe I'll ask Deborah.
Guthrie.
Detective Guthrie? This is Deputy Birdwell, the Glenboro PD.
Bertie, how are you? Oh, is everything okay?
Well, when those people told me that they saw strange lights in that building, well, I thought they were all members of the Full Moon Club, but not anymore.
Have you had some more sightings?
Yeah, and this time by someone I trust.
Oh, yeah?
Me.
You?
That's right.
Okay, tell me about it.
Yeah, well, I was driving up there about 5 minutes ago, and all of a sudden I saw lights moving around in that place. I'm telling you, I saw it clear as anything.
Bertie, are you sure it wasn't your headlights reflecting off the building or something?
No. The car wasn't pointing towards the windows. No, there is something in there, I'm telling you, and it's something moving.
How about the studio? Is it all locked up?
Yeah, I checked it out this afternoon after the movie folks left.
Well,
And, they left kind of early, so I decided to come back this evening and check it out again.
Well, why don't you open up the studio and take a look around?
Yeah, well, I guess I could do that.
You're not going to find out anything unless you do.
Yeah, well, I figured it would be a good idea, you see, if I had some backup, just in case.
Don't you have a friend or somebody?
No, we've only got 2 men on the force here, and my partner, Joe, you see, he doesn't really know I have this job.
I think I get the hint. You want me to come out there and help?
Well, yeah, I just thought you might want to get in on the action,
Detective? Oh, yeah, sure. Listen, don't wait on me. Why don't you go on in and take a look around, okay? Just take a deep breath, whistle a happy tune, see what you can find out.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, okay, bye.
Nola?
Owen, I don't know what to say to you. You don't even know me. Look, I think I should say something very discouraging right now to you, like maybe we shouldn't see each other anymore. Or something. You're a married man, Owen. Do you realize that? Now, there are women who may be able to accept that, but I am not one of them.
And if I wasn't married, if I was free, what would you think then, huh?
bottle of scotch out of Dad's room. Dad, you will be happy to know that Mr. Archer is resting comfortably.
With the lights on, I think he's afraid of things that go bump in the dark.
Yeah, well, I just hope that he has nerve enough to finish this damn film.
No, I don't know if it is just nerves, Dad. I'm wondering if that guy really isn't sick.
Nothing that 5 years in a psychoanalyst couch couldn't cure, believe me.
I realize that, but I think it's always best to get a physical explanation first, don't you?
Now, why don't you take him to a doctor? I mean, you've got an awful lot of money stuck on his health.
Well, you're right. Maybe I could use his contract to force him to see a physician.
Sure. How about, Dr. Kavanaugh? He did a great job with me.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Well, I'll just call him now. Excuse me.
I wonder how well Daddy is.
Yeah. You think he's sick too, right?
Oh, Brian, he's worried. You can see that.
I wish I could help him, Paige. I just don't know what to do about the Deborah Saxon situation.
I like her. I know she wouldn't try to hurt Daddy.
Or my mother.
Brian, we don't know what's going on between the two of them.
And you don't expect him to talk to us about it, do you?
Oh, no, he'd never say a word about it. Maybe Deborah would.
No, I'm not so sure of that either.
Why not? We're friendly and we're both adults. I think it's worth a try.
You know, considering I am barely 3 months pregnant, I think it's a bit premature to pick out our child's wardrobe.
I'd always hoped I'd be able to give you Adam's hand-me-downs.
Hey, now, wait a minute. Suppose it's a girl.
Well, in that case, you two are on your own.
Thanks.
Do you have any preference? Boy or girl?
Oh, are you kidding? Just the thought that a living human being is growing in my body makes me the happiest woman on the earth.
Miles, did Dr. Wallace offer any reason for the reversal in April's condition?
No, not really. Just that the internal damage that April had suffered seemed to have healed itself.
But you do agree that her condition is a little more delicate than most.
Well, yes, it is. Since you've had one miscarriage, April, you got to try to be especially careful to make sure this pregnancy goes full term.
Well, you know, I wouldn't be opposed to having April leave her job at WMLN, or at least cutting back on your responsibilities.
Hey, come on. You have been pulling double duty, you know, working as Margot's assistant and doing the on-the-air stuff.
Whose side are you on?
Yours.
Hey, listen. I don't consider it work at all. I enjoy working at WMON tremendously.
No, I don't see any reason why she should stop working, as long as you make your schedule a little bit easier on yourself.
I'm sure Margot will be more than happy to do anything she can to accommodate you.
I really enjoy seeing your pretty face on the TV screen all the time. And Nicole tells me you did really well on that interview with the Mansion of the Damned crew.
April is a real trooper, because I know she was feeling rotten the entire time she was on the camera.
Oh, well, the interview didn't bother me half as much as something that character, Eddie Vaughn said while I was staying at Margot's.
What was that?
Oh, he was talking about the movie's Curse, and he picked up that I wasn't quite comfortable talking about the supernatural.
Must have brought back some very unpleasant memories.
As a matter of fact, I told him about some of my psychic experiences, and he suggested that I might be a witch.
Well, I don't think he was serious about that. I don't think that man is serious about very much. Listen, would you excuse me? Let me call my servant.
Sure, go ahead. You can leave a dime by the phone. Anyway, Eddie even went as far as to suggest that he could possibly use my sensitivity, you know, my psychic sensitivity, in connection with the film.
You know those PR people. I mean, they'll conjure up any kind of stunt to get some free newspaper space.
Well, even so, even if he was only joking, it couldn't help but bring back some memories of those visions I had last year.
Those are all in the past.
Yeah, but they were brought on by a bump on the head. Now I have another bump on the head to worry about.
Hey, that was pretty quick. Everybody in Monticello must be healthy tonight.
Well, it seems that all us mortals are all right. It's just the devil that is sick.
I'm glad you agreed to meet me on such short notice.
Oh, well, it's been a long day. Sitting here helps me unwind.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
I told you after the Tobias case was over that I really did want to see you again. I meant it.
Well, I'm surprised you had a chance to break away. I mean, you are in the process of becoming a very famous movie star.
That remains to be seen. During the day, I have my rehearsals, but the nights are still free. Miss Saxon, you know a lot about my social life. How about yours? Tell me about your life.
Oh, it's the same old stuff. I'm working on some pretty interesting cases right now. Doing a lot of paperwork.
Well, how about your social life? That must be pretty hectic, too.
Oh, it's not really. I go out occasionally.
Seeing anybody special?
I suppose
I shouldn't ask such a personal question.
You can ask. Doesn't mean I have to answer.
It's just that I like you, Deborah, and I want you to be happy.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
When you take a special interest in somebody, you want them to be happy.
Like Owen, for instance.
Yeah.
That's the real reason you're asking me all these questions, isn't it? You want to know about my relationship with Owen?
If there is one, Brian seems to think so.
All right. Paige, I'm not going to lie to you. I have been seeing your father.
I should have known it. I mean, all the signs were there, and I just chose to ignore them.
I suppose it must be pretty difficult for you to accept the idea that your father is seeing, for lack of a better word, another woman.
His moods were so bright while you were around the house, and now he's still as cheery when he comes back from those business dinners.
Paige, being secretive about seeing Owen bothers me. It really does.
I'm concerned about my father's happiness.
So am I. So am I.
You know that there's no love lost between Nola and he.
Yeah. Owen told me that the feelings waned a long time ago.
You know what it's like living in a house with two people that are just coexisting? I mean, it's awful. That's why I wouldn't go back there. That's why I decided to run off with Tobias. So I would feel as though I was part of some family.
Paige, we're not having an affair, if that's what you're thinking.
What are you having?
Well, at this point, we're just seeing each other. We enjoy being together, talking. I suppose we fill a void in each other's lives.
I see.
And if you want to know where the relationship is going, I have no idea. Right now, I'm just afraid to feel any more for Owen than I do right now. I don't want either of us to end up getting hurt. I don't want that, no.
I believe you.
I never forget he's married.
Oh, neither does Nola.
Oh, never in a million years did I ever think I would get involved with him. Who wants to get involved with a married man? It just happened, Paige. I just hope you don't hate me for it.
No.
Well, I thought that the reason for our meeting was because you wanted to tell me that you would rather me not see Owen anymore.
No, I don't want to say that.
Oh?
The only happiness my father has in his life right now is coming from you. Now, it may not be ideal, but I really don't think you'd try to hurt him.
Thanks, Paige.
Oh, they must have shut off the lights. Hey, Bertie. Hey, Birdwell. It's Guthrie. Hey, Birdwell. Are you feeling all right?
Nothing. A couple of aspirin wouldn't help.
What happened?
I don't really know. I mean, what with all this, all these props and all this scenery lying around here, I guess I must have run into something.
Thought maybe the vandals had gotten a drop on you.
No, I didn't see another living soul in this place.
Well, no cuts or bruises, blood, bumps.
Hey, come on, let's just forget it, huh?
Hey, Bertie, you're as white as a ghost.
Oh, boy, that is a poor choice of words.
The if I didn't know better, I'd say you fainted.
Hey, look, Guthrie, I am not exactly the fainting type. But if you promise to keep your mouth shut.
My lips are sealed.
Well, I had a little scare before.
Oh, what was it? Did you find what was causing these lights?
No, they got away before I got inside, and it was pitch black. And I turned on my flashlight, and that's when I saw it. You see, and it.
So what?
I saw it. It was all kind of reddish, like, and it just seemed to be kind of floating in midair up there. And I backed away, and I must have bumped into something, and I knocked myself down. Hey, look, I'm telling you, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, it's true. I saw a ghost in this place.
Yes, of course I understand, darling. Perfectly well. But don't expect me to wait up for you. Good night.
Hey, take it easy with that thing. It's only made of plastic. What's the matter?
That was my loving husband telling me he had to work late again.
Well, he spends all day at the studio. It's the only time he has to keep up with his business.
Oh, don't be a fool, Eddie. You know as well as I do where Owen will be tonight. And with whom.
Oh, now, you have no proof of that.
God, he's practically admitted to me that he's in love with Detective Saxon.
Now, Nola, calm down. You're getting all worked up over absolutely nothing. I'm sure of it.
You're on his side, Eddie, aren't you?
I'm not on anybody's side.
You men always side with each other. But it's all right, Eddie. Everybody seems to be against me. Even Paige approves of Owen's extramarital activities.
You'll never get me to believe that.
It so happens I saw Paige with Deborah in a cocktail lounge last night, having a very friendly chat.
So they are friends. They could be talking about anything.
Paige was probably providing Miss Saxon with a complete rundown of my faults. Things that Deborah can avoid doing so she'll please her precious Owen. I'm going out.
Look, Nola, you're all upset. I don't want you driving a car in this condition.
No, I think a ride in the night air will do me a world of good.
Look, can't we sit down and talk this thing over really calmly?
Oh, good night, Eddie. Don't wait up for me.
Where are you going, Nola? Nola!
I just saw Mom's car tear out of the driveway. What's going on?
Oh, she's gone for a little ride. Owen just called. Told her he was going to be late at the studio. Nola doesn't feel like being alone by herself tonight.
Well, Eddie, if she was upset, why didn't you try to stop her?
Well, what am I supposed to do, lock the door and swallow the key? Look, it'll probably turn out all for the best. She'll take a little run up and down the highway and get rid of some of the tension.
Yeah, either that or wrap the car around a tree or drive into the nearest bar.
There's no danger of that, kid. You know, despite what people say about this picture having a curse on it, as far as your mother is concerned, it's a blessing.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. She really hasn't touched a drop since we started.
The only one who's been affected by the curse is Trent Archer. I heard what happened yesterday. He's keeling over in the studio.
Yeah, and he wasn't well enough to work today, so we had to postpone another rehearsal.
These delays are costing us money, Brian.
You aren't kidding. At least he agreed to go see Dr. Kavanaugh, huh? He's over there right now.
Well, I hope he's all right. Not for his sake. I mean, personally, I can't stand the guy. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing he could be suffering from is terminal ego. But we're so far behind on this production.
Well, now that you're finished with me, I'm more suited to play Dracula than the devil. Certainly took a lot of blood.
Oh, I assure you got plenty left inside you.
Oh, doctor, how long am I going to live? Now, don't tell me it's going to be less than 30 years, or else I'll have a stroke and pass out right here.
Well, from what I was able to tell, you seem to be in pretty satisfactory health. We'll find out more when we get these back from the lab.
Okay, well, how long will that take?
One day.
Now, you don't seem to have any idea about why I'm having these seizures and fainting
A
spells?
little bit concerned about your low blood pressure. Could indicate a blood sugar problem.
Yeah, but that can be taken care of, right?
Yeah. Tell me, how long have you been having trouble sleeping?
Well, now, I've had insomnia for years. The middle of the night seems to be the best time to worry about where you're going to get your next job.
A loss of appetite?
No, that only happens really when I'm a bit tense, starting a new project.
Yeah. Well, you could do yourself a favor by just trying to relax, get more sleep, get in a few decent meals, And when I get a full workup on these, I will let you know.
Doctor, what'll happen if, say, we find out that I'm perfectly healthy? Huh?
Well, if the symptoms persist, we take some more tests.
Yeah. But then if there's still nothing?
Well, Mr. Vaughn did mention to me that you seem to be putting some credence into this so-called curse that's associated with this movie you're making. Is that what you're referring to?
Twice before, this project was started, and then it was never finished, due to strange circumstances.
Well, now tell me, you really believe that the ghost of some witch is trying to keep her story from being told?
Well, all I know is that the only time that I had this experience was when I felt that something strange was really happening to me, physically. And that was when I put myself in the place of the role of the devil himself.
Well, maybe there is a curse at work here.
What?
Yes, but no ghost is responsible for it, Mr. Archer. You are.
Me?
Yes, see, it's possible that your fears have just made you so anxious that they're giving you these physical symptoms.
I wasn't imagining when my whole body felt like it was on fire, or when I fainted.
No, I'm sure the symptoms are... Well, we'll find out about your physical condition when we get those back from the lab.
Well, aren't you going to give me something? A prescription, something?
Well, all right. Tell you what, there's a magazine you might be interested in subscribing to. It's called the Skeptical Inquirer, and it's all about, some of the nonsense that people believe in nowadays. You might want to take it once a month after meals.
Thank you, Doctor. I have enough to read, and I don't believe in nonsense.
All right, I'll be in touch.
Doctor, may I ask you something? What's your sign?
This really reminds me of old times. I mean, not that it was so long ago, but remember how we used to get together and just kind of sit around and talk and mellow out?
Yeah, well, a few things have changed, Joe.
Yeah.
And ever since Kelvin became acting chief, I see less of him now than I did when he was on the streets.
I keep trying to explain to this woman that us executive types can't work with one eye on the clock.
Well, at least while he's tucked away in that office, you don't have to worry about anybody shooting at him.
True. But I still think Calvin will be a lot happier when he gets back out on those streets, huh?
Oh, sure will. That won't be long either. Have you all noticed that I have kicked the crutch and I'm doing rather well with my cane here?
Mm-hmm. And pretty soon you won't need that either.
Nope, in no time at all. I'll be limping after you two chasing the bad guys, huh?
Well, Steve and I haven't chased too many bad guys lately, Calvin.
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, Deborah and I don't see much of each other these days. As a matter of fact, Deborah doesn't hang around with cops anymore.
That isn't so.
Oh, well, you can't blame her. She's got to work around them all day, right?
Right.
Listen, I hate to break up the party, but I got to go on late duty. Our new acting chief here has assigned me to late shift every night this week.
Hey, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, you know, when you called this reunion together, you sounded like you had some earth-shattering news.
Well, I had a little information I wanted to share with my two best buddies.
What about Star? Doesn't she count?
Well, I heard about it yesterday.
Oh.
We're listening.
Oh, well, actually, I've come to a very important decision in my life. I'm going to look for a new apartment.
Oh, well, congratulations. That made the trip over here worthwhile.
I thought you liked your apartment.
Well, it's fine, but it's an efficiency, and it's just not big enough for 2 people.
2 people.
Okay. I asked Star to marry me.
And Star said yes.
We are officially engaged.
All right.
Good evening, miss.
I'm so happy for you guys. I wish I had some champagne.
Oh, Calvin, congratulations. I never thought any woman in the world would get you, except the greatest lady in the whole world.
I wasn't about to let this one get away from me.
Come here. Excuse me. Now tell me, how long was it after he proposed that you said okay?
Well, I had to play hard to get. So I made him wait for my answer at least 15 seconds.
I'm so excited.
Oh.
All the best, babe.
Thank you.
All right, now listen, when is the momentous occasion? I'm going to need plenty of time so I can rent a tie. You know?
Oh, you think you're going to have to need probably a whole suit. I expect you to be my best man.
I thought you were never going to ask. Thank you. I would be proud.
Calvin says we have at least a month, so we have plenty of time to go shopping.
Good.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to wait till my leg's completely healed. I would like to walk very proudly down the aisle instead of carrying this limp of mine with me. Anyway, I figure in a month or 2 I'll be walking pretty tall.
Mm-hmm. And I've been walking on air ever since he popped the question.
Well, you better get him quick before he gets cold feet and pops away.
Oh, no way. I don't think he'd dare leave me standing at the church. He's already met my 2 brothers, Willie and Sam.
Her 2 very big brothers.
Have you guys decided where you want a honeymoon?
Oh, well, by the time we decide to tie the knot, it's going to be overcoat weather around here, so...
So we thought we might like to go to the islands and lay out in the sun.
That's a terrific idea.
Yeah, it's another reason I want to make sure my leg gets all better. I want to lay around all day and dance all night.
You want to dance all night?
No, not all night.
Oh, Star, you're a very courageous lady. A lot of girls are reluctant to marry cops these days, you know.
Hey, look, I'm not too thrilled about what he does for a living, but I know Calvin loves it, and I'll just have to accept it.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure. Got no secrets from you.
Why marriage?
What?
What do you mean?
I mean, why not move in together? Try it for a while. A lot of couples are doing it these days.
Well, we figured what's right for a lot of couples is not necessarily right for us.
And I guess I'm really an old-fashioned girl because I think if 2 people really love each other, they should be willing to give a real commitment. And that means marriage, right?
Right.
Well, it's nice to see that somebody still believes in marriage. Ah, listen, I gotta get back to work.
before all the crooks start without me. I'm really happy for you.
I wonder how Owen would like it if he knew his lady friend was being unfaithful to him.
Excuse me, lady. Let me have a copy of the monosode.
Right here.
All right. Thank you. Have a nice day.
I'll try. Hey, haven't I seen you someplace before?
Oh, it's possible.
I've seen you on the television, right? Don't tell me, let me guess.
I'll give you a hint. I'm not one of Charlie's angels.
Nola Patterson, right?
As a matter of fact, yes.
I can't believe it. A real live movie star right here at my newsstand.
This is your lucky night.
Before my TV went on the Fritz, I never missed one of your movies. In the old days, me and Charlie, he's my late husband, we saw every one of your films.
Oh, well, I'm flattered.
I'm sorry I didn't recognize you right off, but you look older. We all look older, honey. I thought you were the most beautiful woman in pictures those days. Oh, I didn't mean that you're not beautiful now.
You have a rather interesting face yourself.
You know, I can remember cutting pictures of you out of one of those movie magazines. I'll bet I still have it someplace.
Do you really? Well, since you have a picture of me, I think it's only fair that I should have one of you. Would that be all right?
Oh.
Oh, darling, I really feel awful just kind of bursting in here without even calling first.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. You're always welcome here. Besides, Draper is working late tonight, so I will enjoy the company. And I love it when you bring over presents.
Well, I just hope you like it.
Oh, baby book. Thank you.
Tell you the truth, I got into my car and I just didn't feel like going back to that apartment. It just, without you there, it's so cold and lonely.
Well, what about Elliot? Have you spoken to him? Have you resolved anything?
Yeah, I resolved everything all right. I threw him out.
Margot, I hope you didn't make that decision because of Elliot and me.
Oh, darling, I just wish I'd been strong enough to make that decision a long time ago.
I hope you don't mind my saying this. I have never felt that Elliot could be trusted. I never believed in him.
Well, darling, I didn't believe in him either. I just sort of convinced myself that I was in love with him. Only he didn't love me back, and when one doesn't have love, one must at least have respect. Only I don't think he respected me either.
No, I didn't think he did.
Well, he proved it the other day. When he walked out of that apartment and left you lying there not caring whether you lived or died. That's the most disrespect he could have shown me. He knew how much you mean to me, how much I...
Margot, don't do it to yourself.
Well, no, I just don't ever want to see him again, that's all. Except when he comes by to pick up his things, I'm going to see him then because I'm not letting him come in that apartment without my watching him. The man's not only a coward, he's a thief. I want to be there to be sure that he leaves with only what belongs to him and nothing else.
You know something? Old Hester surely put a lot of scary stories into this book of hers.
Oh, yeah, she had a hell of an imagination.
If she were alive today, she could make $1 million writing those gothic paperbacks everybody's reading.
Well, everybody seems to be convinced that her spirit is still around. Why don't you see if you can get in touch with her? Maybe she'd be interested in doing some ghostwriting.
Oh, very funny. What I should get in touch with is a literary agent and get this thing published.
Yeah.
Oh, well, good evening, everybody. Don't bother to stand up.
Doc Cavanaugh check you out?
Well, Trent, you seem to be in a very good mood. I suppose that means the doctor didn't find anything wrong.
Oh, he assured me that either I'd live to be 100 or else until next Tuesday, whichever came first. No, the test turned out very well, as a matter of fact. I tell you, I am a picture of health.
Oh, as good looking on the inside as on the outside, huh?
Trent, I suppose that means that you won't be suffering from any more fainting spells.
Well, yeah, and he was suspicious about tension, you know, and blood, things like that. Whatever.
Well, you see, I told you it wasn't old Hester putting the evil eye on you.
No, I'm in a good frame of mind, as a matter of fact. Actually, I'm hungry. You know, I haven't felt famished since I arrived here in Monticello.
Well, dinner will be ready pretty soon.
No, I think I'm going to venture out to one of the restaurants that Owen's been talking about recommending.
Well, suit yourself. There's a good Mexican place over there on Hill Boulevard. Best chili burgers this side of the mountains.
Thanks for the suggestion. Where's Paige?
Oh, she's out shopping. She should be back soon.
You know, I do hate to dine alone, particularly out in public. It's just not good for my image. Brian, you don't mind if I ask Paige to join me?
Well, that's that. Eddie, if you'll give me a hand, I'll load this into the car and run it back out to the soundstage.
Sure. You want to give us a hand, Trent?
Me? What am I, a stagehand?
There we go.
See you later. All right. The autobiography of Hester Atherton. Oh. Mrs. Hooks, why didn't you just let this damned thing burn?
On June 7th, 1870, Macaulay's ship was scheduled to arrive back in Salem from a voyage. As the foremaster entered the bay, I climbed to the top of a crag overlooking the harbor. I then summoned my Prince of Darkness and asked him to empower me with the mastery of the elements. As I raised my hands, a cloudless sky began to darken. Within minutes, the winds were whipping, the seas were running high, as rain came down in torrents. Even though it was summer, the storm was as fierce as any nor'easter I've seen in my day. In a few minutes, it was all over. As the sun shone, I walked to the beach to watch the splinters of wood which were Macaulay's schooner washed up on shore. Terence Macaulay took advantage of Hester Atherton, and it cost him his life. Anyone who chooses to cross me, beware, for the same fate awaits you.
Paige? Paige?